Go in the room.
Okay.
Go a minute 30 this time. We'll just throw people off. All right, so what were our topics? Hold on. Stock market or economy?
Economy.
There we go. Well, here we are. Jeremy Knight with the Knight Group, your favorite REALMigo, I think. Favorite Migo host. There you go. I nailed it. We have quite the show for you tonight. We got some awesome topics. So we're going to talk about some articles that just came out. So things you should know are there's an article that just came out, like 6 things realtors think you should know. We're going to commentate on that, see if those are things you should know. The market numbers just dropped today for April, right? April, May. Yep. And they are insane. We're going to talk about Abbott ending the unemployment benefits in June, I think is when they're ending. And then Kevin wants to talk about the economy. So we got a lot of awesome stuff to talk about. How are y'all doing today?
Ladies first.
Yeah, ladies first. Sarah, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. It's been pretty good. It's nuts still. And my kids found a snake in the garage today. So all good things.
I'm sure it was a fun snake.
They love it.
Sure. Yeah. It's a little rat snake.
Ian, we got to hang out last week in San Antonio. It's good to see you again.
We did. It's always good to see you, man. Yeah, we were in the Pearl District. If anybody doesn't know, it's similar to Austin's like Domain or Mueller area, but obviously it's not as good because it's San Antonio, but
true.
It's a cool space.
Yeah, it was fun. Kevin, how's the mullet, man?
Mullet's flowing free, brother.
Flowing free.
We're getting in the stages of its all of its splendor and glory.
Nice. All right, so I do have something before we get too far into the live stream. I hope people watch this in the playback. I have a request. So I get a lot of people that reach out to me. They email me, ask me questions, and don't use me as their realtor. Now, that's fine. All that you have questions. I really appreciate that you have questions. The fact that you don't use me, that's not a big deal to me. The problem I have is when people call me at 8 to 11 a.m. on Sunday mornings, just asking me basically, is this a good place to buy? Please, please, please don't do that. I have paying clients that I work very hard for. So I appreciate that you have questions. Please keep them on the channel. Don't email me your questions about, is this a good place, unless you're actually really wanting to engage me as your realtor. I hate I have to do that again. I have to bring this up, but it takes time away from clients that I'm working very hard with and hard for. So I just really appreciate it. I try to answer the questions. Like if you're going to ask questions about neighborhoods on the channel, so I'd really appreciate it if you left them there instead of emailing me or calling me directly, especially on Sundays. Can't tell you how aggravating that is. I don't spend a lot of time with my family. And so when I do it, I try to do it Sunday mornings. And when I get calls asking me like, hey, should I buy in Liberty Hill? It's like, come on. So there you go. Sorry, I just had to get that out there because it's weighing on me. It's bothering me. Anyway, so we're going to jump in. Sarah, things you should know. This article just came out. Did you get a chance to read it? I'm going to pull it up.
I did get a chance to read it. And I mean, a lot of it made sense. It's really, to me, I think the big takeaway was making sure that clients have proper expectations. They can't be picky, and to not get their feelings hurt and not get discouraged in this market, and being able to, and I mean, those are things that I personally talk about with clients to help prepare and tee them up better when they work with you or work with other realtors. But, that's big. I think a lot of buyers need to understand they can't be like, I want this big needs list for a home. Like right now, you're kind of, if you need to get in a house, you're lucky if you can get into a house and maybe wait to go to your dream house later.
Yeah. I mean, what's pretty interesting on here, if anybody's paid attention to this channel, so there were 6 groups here, right? Be open-minded, adjust your expectations. I feel like that's a big one right there. Be prepared for emotional process. I feel like that one's a huge one. Be informed and don't overdo it. That's decent. But I love this one right here. Choose an open-minded realtor who has experience winning bids. And instead of talking with anybody in Austin, in fact, I've interviewed with this lady, and I have not seen the article that she said it was going to be in. What's her name? Avery Hartmans. So look who they put in here, which drives me insane. My good friend, Katie Day from Houston, with Caldwell Banker. She's been on the channel. She's been on the show. So they interviewed her talking about Houston winning bids in Houston. I think it's really silly that they talked about winning bids in Houston because if anywhere you're fighting for a bid, it's here in Austin. But gentlemen, what do you think about this list? Have patience, choose an open-minded realtor, be informed. What do you think about this list?
I wish people generally speaking would take a lot more time in this process. I mean, it's a process. I told my clients it's a process you only do a couple of times in your life anyway. So I think that these are naturally questions that you should be asking yourself, not just like the first person that calls you based on a realtor.com inquiry and like, okay, cool, I'm going to work with you. You should be interviewing your agent just like you would interview any other professional. That's my opinion. And these are great questions to ask.
I'll let you go, Ian, then I'm going to tell you my.
I think there are a few of these points that are really, really important. The one I want to highlight is be prepared for an emotional process.
Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, I don't know very many people that I've got under contract that we haven't submitted multiple offers or really looked thoroughly through many homes before deciding to submit an offer. It is very emotional. And then you don't know because like we were talking about last week, there was the home that had 40 offers. Well, you know how long it took to find out if we were actually selected? It was like 3 days. It takes forever. And so that you're like, well, do I go offer on another house? What do I do? What's going to happen? What if they don't accept us? What if they do? It's like, okay, we do have to think through this. So strategizing and just understanding how it works and that it will be emotional the entire time, even closing day, sometimes after.
So I would, even after closing. So here's something I find interesting. I can tell the person that wrote this article was not a realtor, or okay, they don't have to be a realtor, but they write articles about the housing market, but don't really understand the housing market. And what I mean is this weekend I was supposed to meet with CNN, right? They wanted to come out, they wanted me to drive them around and show clients homes. And I said, yeah, but the thing is number one, finding somebody to come on camera for CNN or anybody, regardless, most people don't want to be on camera. So that's a side thing. But I was trying to explain to the guy from CNN, like, hey, here's the deal. People don't come out here every weekend and write offers on properties. If you want to come around this weekend with me, it's going to be me, you, and my phone and your camera. And I'm going to video conference these clients. I put 3 people under contract this weekend through video calls alone. I'm like, hey, CNN guy, if you want to follow me around this. So they don't really understand, like they get it, but they don't understand it or grasp it. I think the biggest thing that they missed and the biggest highlight that they missed on this is having a good lender and having your finances in check. I think that's the problem most people get into. Like they want to get involved in a contract. They want to get under contract and they totally skip the biggest part of it. And now I've joked on this channel before and said that lending is only 30% to give Sarah a hard time. But lending is probably 60 to 70% of the actual contract. If you're doing lending, the other 30% is your agent and what your agent does. So I don't want to diminish what we do, but we don't write the checks. We don't give you the money. It's the lender. So I really feel like they missed the boat on that, is really having your finances in check. What do you think, Sarah?
I mean, I agree, because it's one of the things that I think a lot of people misunderstand is I'll get those emergency calls or be like, oh, we're flying out to Austin tonight and we want to look at homes tomorrow. We haven't applied. We're not pre-approved yet. And I'm excited for you, and that's amazing. But the thing is, it's a process and you want it done well. Because you don't just want I'm not like a McDonald's of lending, right? Like, it's not like you can just go through a drive-through, click a button, spit something out, and that's going to be a valid, amazing pre-approval that's going to help you get a loan. If you want it's always advisable to go with someone local, but if you want a good, strong pre-approval and you want a good lender that will call that listing agent for you and help you put your best foot forward to get that home, you need to put the time and effort into that too. Like Kevin was saying, when he was talking about you want to interview, a realtor and make sure it's the best realtor for you. The same thing goes with lending. You want to make sure that you're communicating and get with a really good lender that you can trust, and that's going to go over numbers and options with you. And you want to make sure you have a solid pre-approval that says that not necessarily me, but that lender's looked at, all that documentation. So you have a strong offer, and if you can offer over asking, like how high you can go, because that's crucial for you to know. That's crucial for the borrower to know. So you can even make an offer on a home, and that takes a little bit of time. So yes.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you seen somebody said, oh, I went to Loan Depot and I'm good to go. I'm pre-approved. And then like you have a whole shit show of a contract. Have you seen that, Kevin?
Oh.
I'm talking to guys.
No. I mean, I absolutely have. I've had to save some of those situations before. And I've had actually early in the process, had folks like that are shopping for rates or whatever. And they've gone to, loansgalore.com and like, well, this guy's offering me 0.25% less than your lender that you suggested to me. Why shouldn't I just use them? And I'm like, listen, if I send your pre-approval to loansgalore.com to the listing agent, they're going to be like, hey, have you ever worked with these people before? Because why would we take your offer if you have no idea if these folks are even going to close? It makes a difference to the seller and to the listing agent that you use somebody that knows what they're doing and has navigated this market very, very well and has a high close rate. So yes, it does make a big difference.
Sarah, what do you think about I appreciate that 100%. What do you think about this right here? Are there levels of pre-approvals?
Yes, and there are. And so basically so there's like the most basic form of pre-qualification, which is basically usually what you get from a lot of online lenders, where you just like fill out some basic information on a form, and then it tells you, okay, you pre-qualify for X amount without reviewing any of your documentation. That's more of a verbal pre-qualification, and no one that I know is going to be accepting those. The next level is going to be an actual pre-approval where you get all the financial documentation. So I can put on a letter that I've reviewed all of your financial documents and that I've run it through underwriting. And that's solid. And that gives that extra level of security for a listing agent when they're evaluating your offer, for your own realtor when they're submitting your offer, and it allows you to have your strongest, that would be the strongest level of pre-approval that you could get out there.
So, gentlemen, let me ask you a question. So when you're writing an offer, I just told a client this today. When we're writing an offer that's financed, there's a lot of things we need to do to be competitive to make your offer that's financed look like cash. Because you can beat cash with a financed offer, but you're going to have to give an appraisal waiver and you might have to waive your third-party financing, which are two things that could cost you a lot of money and you really should be prepared for. And if you have a lender that doesn't understand and this is like, hold on, this is not a sales pitch to you, Sarah, at all. I like to have Sarah on here to give so you're not hearing just from us. And we like to have real strong females on here. But the other, to offset, Kevin's machismo and mullet. But But the thing is that you have to make that offer look like cash. And if you have a lender that's like has no idea what a third party financing addendum is, like that could be a major concern writing that contract, because that could cost your client a lot of money. What do you think about that?
I would actually argue, he's actually even mentioning too that, yes, I would 100% agree with you that a good loan, a good lender is as competitive as cash is right now, because if you're, offering more money than these cash offers are, then the seller is going to be like, I don't care if as long as you can cover the difference in the appraisal. We don't care if you have cash or whether you have a loan, as long as your lender is good. But I'd also say, like, with what the previous gentleman was asking about, Dondi was asking about, was that who it was?
Yeah, this one.
With whether or not going to the builder in new construction, I actually think cash works against you in that situation. It's like, the rules too are like, people like, when they say that they're going to go buy a car, they're like, I'm going to go into the dealership with all cash and I'm going to get the best deal possible. No, dealers and builders actually make more money when you finance using their lender. Yeah. So they want you to buy through the lender. They want you to finance. Cash is actually considered negative when you're going to a new builder and trying to negotiate a contract.
And we should talk about builders here in a little bit, because I'm doing a video this week that's coming out later this week on Sunday about builders and kind of the BS with builders. So if you are building right now or in the process of building and you've had to put a bid out on a property, please put it in the chat. I want to see this. And after the replay, please put this in as well in the comments. I want to hear from you. If you put a bid on a property, what type of bid was it? Did you bid just for the property? Did you bid for the lot and then build? What process did you do, and how much over list price did you have to go? Or give us a percent. I mean, I want to know exactly your address and how much you paid, but I do really want to know that information, because it's something that I'm kind of putting together in a video. So I'd really appreciate your feedback on that. Ian, what does your beret think today?
My beret, I don't remember what I was going to say. I think I was going to talk about the builders requiring you to get pre-approved with their lender. I'm not going to say it's getting frustrating. I think it's been frustrating. And so I think it's a way for them to, like Kevin said, to, get you through their system and give you that shot, or give their lender that shot, even if you already come with a pre-qualification or pre-approval. I don't know if a lot of people know that. So if you're going to go build a house, it's good for you to get numbers from a lender that you trust. But when you go to the builder, 95% of the time, I feel like that's a good number, that they're going to ask you to get pre-qualified or pre-qualified with their lender, their preferred lender. And then you got to be careful of the cost. You got to compare and contrast, and it's frustrating. But it's good. It's good for you to do your homework too.
Right. So Razor ATX, congratulations on the closing this week. I'm glad we could help. That's what the channel's for. Here's a good one, though. I just used the builder's lender, knowing two things: easy to use and knowing they'll just sell my note anyway. Fourth of a point wasn't going to really matter. I've actually seen where the builder's lender can't give out too much information on this one. This one you can email me and I'll give you info on. But where the builder's lender was, I don't have any actual factual information, but I do have a lot of hearsay that went along with this. The builder's lender purposely disqualified or said that, and Sarah actually was part of this, not Sarah being part of it, but was on the receiving end of, hey, we need to pop over to a different lender, where they purposely denied them so the builder could sell it for more.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, right? They basically said, so my client had purchased a home while this home was being built, and there was nothing in the guidelines saying they couldn't buy it as an investment as well. And so at the very end, they said, oh, you know what, by the way, blah, 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 you're denied. And we found out 2 weeks before the denial that one of the reps was shopping that home for $50,000 more to another client, to another potential buyer.
It's dirty.
So before we even knew, and this was like 5 days before closing, they told us.
Did I mention this before? Or maybe this was new. I mean, it's new information, but I don't know if I mentioned this before. The lenders, what does the builder offer if you use their lender, guys? What do they offer?
It's basically covering like $4,000 or whatever to cover the title policy.
Okay. They offer a fixed number of cost towards closing costs, correct?
Yes.
Here's what they did to one of my clients. And my clients didn't know because they haven't used the builder's lender. I said, let me look at this contract. They gave them $7,000 towards closing costs. Then they charged them $6,500 in points to buy down their interest rate.
Yeah.
They charged them. They gave them $7,000. It's like, oh, but by the way, we're going to charge you $6,500 towards buying down your interest rate when that interest rate couldn't even actually touch an external lender. So they had to even try to compete with the external lender it was ridiculous. And that's what I'm saying is, and people ask this, they've always asked this question too. Like, why do I need a realtor when I'm going to a new build? That is a good reason right there, because the builders are willing to do anything. I have another story I'll tell you
right now.
Another time. I don't know even know if I want to tell this. I will. I'll say it.
You do.
Yeah. Let's talk builders because hold on. Let's segue real quick because I actually want to cut this video up into shorts. So anything, look, we're going to go into builders next. Anything else on this that you disagree or agree with on what people should be prepared for when buying? None. All right, we're going to builders. All right, Kevin, if you have a question regarding that, we'll answer it in the chat below. But go ahead, builders. What are builders doing? What have you been seeing?
So in the last week, I came across one with a viewer actually as well. And I won't mention the builder and I won't mention the community because I don't think that's appropriate. But I think that's something you need to watch out for everywhere. The builder sent the contract over, and they're anti-investor. They pretty much want to tell you everything you can and can't do for literally ever for your house now. And I'm not joking. So they had a contract sent to my client that said, literally the contract said, you cannot rent your house out to anyone within 2 years of purchase. And if you do, they can essentially take the home back. And it's like, there's no legal precedent to this at all. Maybe like, okay, a contract's a contract. I get it. But a contract is only valid to an extent that, you write it and it's agreed upon by both parties. But if one of them challenges later on with a lawyer and there's no precedent, it can be an absolute mess. To my knowledge, I don't believe that there's any precedent that says once a home goes into deed that the previous rights to that, unless exclusively in like deed restrictions or something. So this to me was absolutely ridiculous that they're doing this now. And this was not meant, they don't mention these things. They just say, hey, we're not going to sell to an investor. They don't say, we're going to rip this contract out from under you. We're going to take it back even before you close. They said, look, another phrase in this contract said, if there is any disagreement, they just used the word disagreement.
Yeah.
If there's any disagreement between the buyer and the builder can immediately cancel the contract.
That's ridiculous.
What does that even mean?
This is something I talked about in another video on my channel, is that yes, there is verbiage. So, like there's escalation clauses now, right? So they can say at any point where at certain points in a contract where they can go, hey, by the way, we're raising the price X amount of dollars because prices went up. Sorry. And if you don't agree to it, then they will just give your earnest money back and put it back on the market and sell for way more.
Well, here's what I don't disagree.
They don't have to.
They don't actually have to.
Well, some of a contract I read this weekend said that they would give earnest money back. But yes, you are correct. I don't think all of them will. And here's the other bullshit is that if you say you do, guess how long it takes to get that earnest money back? Because I had to back out of a milestone myself and got my earnest money back because they messed up.
What's that?
It took 60 plus days to get my money back.
Yeah, no doubt about
60 plus days. My $5,000 just sat there.
Silver asked this. He said, isn't the clause very close to not having investors buy in their own development? Yes, but also I'm listing a house that my client purchased brand new from a builder in November. And guess what? Her husband got a transfer request to go to the Midwest, and he has to take it because financially it's the best reason. They're less than 12 months ownership in the home and less than 2 years, certainly. So they're going to have to pay capital gains on that. Under normal circumstances, I would have the conversation with them like, hey, let's run the equation that says if you were to rent this home for a period of time, how much could you save in having to pay these extra taxes? They should be able to, in a circumstance like that, be able to rent their home out till they get past the capital gains mark, then sell their home and save a lot in taxes. According to this contract, they would lose the home if they had to make that decision. Tell me how that is fair.
The question is, when you say lose the home, I have no idea how this would actually play out. But does that mean that the deed just transfers back to the original owner, or does that mean that the original owner
Yeah, they would have to buy you out. They would have to something. Yeah,
something that, I mean, it's still not right. It just, I'm really curious if anybody's ever gone through that. I've never seen that.
It sounds really similar.
Like eminent domain.
There's a subsidy program in Austin, and it's for affordable housing, and they're set up very similar. And it sounds like they're almost like mirroring some of that, which granted you get an incentive, right? It's like, hey, we're giving you an incentive to buy. This has to stay primary. And if you ever want to resell, you don't make money off of any equity and you have to sell back to us. And those are the requirements for that program, but they're giving you something.
So that's the BS of it. At what price do you sell it back to them? Because they're going to turn around and make money on it.
Oh man, I'm getting worked up right now.
That's the key, right? They want to do that. That's an investment. That's a long play.
Yeah. I would. Well, let's Kevin. Let's talk to the Trek real estate attorney and see what they say about that this week.
Yeah, I'm actually
get him on.
I'm going to review this contract while you guys are at it, and I'm actually going to download it so I can have it for later on.
Yeah,
I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go in nerd mode.
All right. Well, go ahead, Sarah. I got one question I want to put on. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to hit on something else that Kevin was talking about with the fees, and with like, hey, we're going to give you a $7,000 credit, but hit you with like 6,000 in discount points to pay for that. Another thing that was really common I was seeing in builder contracts is they would put a percentage or put a really high number in there, but then they have only up to the amount of closing costs. So this full amount may not be used. So I was seeing where they made it look like they were giving you a lot of money, but they really weren't, because your fees would never go up that high, or that percentage would never go up that high. So it looked like you were getting more than you were actually getting.
Right.
Oh, by the way, this same lender or the same builder gave my clients who have a home there that's almost finished. They said, we don't know when it's done. 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 So my clients were like, hey, what should we do? I said, well, generally we're probably like maybe 60 days away. So you should probably get your pre-approval. Next week, the builder says, okay, we got a date. And then in this week, that was only a week ago. This week he says, hey, what's the deal? Are these guys going to close or not? Because they're using an external lender. He's like, if they don't close by the closing date, we're going to charge them $250 a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd rather get charged $250 a day than to have them just take it and sell it to somebody else.
But then they got an email later that day that said, "Oh, guess what? We're having an issue with the supplier. We may not close. Do you mind if we move the closing date out now?"
Yeah, the builders can extend it, but they make
yes, exactly, bro. I'm
right now.
I had that problem with Lennar.
Sorry,
I had that problem with Lennar in like January, February, where January, February, where we were about to close, and then they need to push out. We had that snowpocalypse thing, but they were like pushing the client to close sooner. And then, snowpocalypse, which, I mean, what are you going to do about snowpocalypse? Right. But then it got pushed even further and further, and it was a real headache. I don't think you were on that one. Oh, they were cash. And this is a good point, Silverman. You have some good comments every now and then, sir. Also, with building materials, they can switch out any material for anything cheaper. And if you don't agree, they can cancel your contract 100%. I just had this happen with Coventry Homes. Yep. I don't have any ill will or anything bad to say about Coventry Homes, but they sent my client a thing saying we're changing this insulation thing from RF whatever to this. And it was a lower quality product. And they stated in the contract, they said they may have to, but they didn't say they were doing that. But should we have issues getting materials, this is what we'll do. And my client's like, do I sign this? And I basically said, do you want to rock the boat over it? Because it's a difference between you losing a house. And right now you've got about $120,000 in equity in this house. Yep. Is it worth it? And so, that sucks. I don't want to say that ever, but it sucks to be in a scenario in this time where it's like, all right, you have to give builders a little leeway, or otherwise it's going to cost your client hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Let me just tell you too, because I forgot that part. You reminded me. I told you they told my clients it was time for them to choose their home because they were in the waiting list. It's time for you to choose your home. But really what that means is, here's the home that we're going to give to you that had a base price of like $450,000. The builder chose $50,000 in upgrade. And these are roundabout numbers. Wait, back up and say this again. Hold on. Back up and say this again, because I want people to understand what you're saying. Okay.
One more time.
Okay. So my clients wanted to, normally you do what? You pick your lot, you pick your plan, you pick your elevation, then you put down an earnest money deposit. Then you go to a design center appointment where you choose your structural finishes, your structural options and your finishes. Okay. And then you pay half of that in a deposit, because rightfully so, if you choose finishes and then you can't close on the house and the builder has to resell that to somebody else, those were your finishes that you chose, not the builder. In this case now, this particular builder, and I think many of them are doing this now, they chose, it was a $450,000 house. They chose $50,000 in upgrades, then charged my clients half of that in earnest money on finishes that they don't even get to choose, when really it's just a $500,000 spec build that should still have a $3,000 earnest money deposit. But no, now the earnest money goes straight to $25,000, $28,000, and they didn't even get to choose any of those finishes. And also told me at the same time, hey, we're not paying you the general. Not we can't discuss and negotiate commissions like with everybody else, but there's generally kind of a range that we're usually paid. And now the builder's like, by the way, we're not going to even pay you what normally you would be getting paid in this.
Yeah, it's about a third
30% less.
Yeah, a third less is basically what they're offering. And so, which is actually good. I actually sent this earlier to Joel here. I actually sent him a screenshot of somebody commented on my channel that the builder, and it's the builder that he's working with, told the buyer today, or they posted it on my channel today, that they were like, hey, we're offering your realtor, if you're going to put a bid, we're offering your realtor this, you have to pay them the other 1%. Like, so not only as a buyer are you bidding and paying way over what the list price is, you're now going to have to pay your realtor a fee. Now, obviously, you're going to have to talk to your realtor about that. But but that's kind of ridiculous to say, hey, look, this is all on you as a buyer now because we have so much leverage. I can't wait for this leverage that they have to start going down, because they are going to be crying for Sarah's help. They're going to be crying for Ian's help. They're going to be crying for Kevin's help. They're going to be crying for my help. And they're going to be crying for all these buyers to come back. Now go back to the material costs. So think about this as a buyer. I just want to throw this out there. Think about this as a buyer. You're having to pay all these arbitrary costs that they're saying. They're not saying like, hey, the price for this commodity went up X, so we're having to raise your price X. They're just saying we have price increases of X. What happens if those go down? Right? Let's say those commodity costs, all of a sudden, all those lumber costs go down 50% tomorrow. Do you think those prices on those homes come down tomorrow? Do you get 50% less on the fees? No. The builder is making all the extra money on this. They're padding, they're arbitrarily holding down supply. So you as the buyer, as the customer, are paying whatever absorbent amount they want because they know they can get away with it. And you are paying and padding their pockets because they're holding down supply. Now, are they making as much money? No, they're not, probably, because they're arbitrarily holding down supply. Now, look, there are restrictions with lumber costs. People are going to give me a hard time because, oh, builders do have a hard time getting commodities, trade wars, all that bull crap. But look, they're padding their bottom dollar. They're taking away from realtors. They're taking away from the buyers, and they're doing like the crap like Kevin just said, which drives me insane. What customer service is that? No,
it's BS. I found the section. I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to tell you that basically it says strictly, in the event of a buyer occupancy default occurring after the closing that involves the sale of the home of the buyer, they can buy it back for the exact same price that they paid for it, minus any costs, any closing costs that they shouldn't have had to pay.
The builder can buy it back for the same price?
Same price. Not the current market value. So if you bought the home for $500,000 and then at the end at 2 years minus a day, it's worth $700, and they find out that you rented it for the 2 years minus 1 day, they can buy the home back. And it's not that they're given the option; they are obligated by specific performance of the contract that they will purchase the home back for you if they decide that they want to do that unilaterally. These are the contracts that they're asking you to sign right now. I'm just letting you know. Read everything, send it, get a real estate lawyer in addition to your realtor, and send these contracts to your real estate lawyer and have them tell you what the risks are associated with you signing these contracts.
So I think that's a really good point, Kevin. You have a lot of people that go straight to a builder, don't read anything about a contract, don't bring
They're excited. They're excited.
Well, that goes back to the emotion I was talking about. Oh, I got a house. Cool. Where do I sign? It's like, whoa.
I spent 10 months searching for a home. I've been on a list.
Yeah. Great. Good for you. Right?
I'm not
Now,
offering
if
you
you end up in
advice.
one of these situations, that's a really, really tough situation to get out of. I've had so many calls from people that are under contract with the builder, and then they'll call me and they'll say, hey, Ian, can you help me? I'm going through this. And I'm like, I didn't know you were under contract for a home. I wish I did. I would have been happy to represent you.
And that's what
you
I
don't
get
have to pay for that either. It's great.
And that's what I get annoyed with. Sunday mornings, I get those calls. Hey, I just got my offer accepted. Is this a good deal? I'm like, it's Sunday morning. I'm at home with my kids, my kid and my wife. And you're calling me about a contract that I'm not a party of and have like, you want information for free? No, buddy, you got to pay up. And even then I can't help you because I'm not party of the contract. Sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
I was saying I actually had a client yesterday call me, and it was actually a referral from you, Jeremy. And we had this exact conversation. He was talking about being interested in new construction and what's the benefit of having an outside lender and a realtor. And I told him, look, if I know a lot of people are going to tell you, or you might hear that you might be able to get the price down or get some kind of incentive for not having a realtor when you go to a builder, but that's a bunch of BS, and you need to have a realtor. You need to have someone that's your advocate, that has your best interest, and that can look out to make sure that they hold the builder accountable, you meet your deadlines, etc. And that's the value they hold. Don't go in there thinking that you're going to make some sort of deal because the builder is going to have to pay out less money or something like that. It's not worth it. It's not worth a major mistake. And he was like, oh, thank you so much. And I hope he listens, but I mean, it's so valuable. And you need to make sure when you pick a realtor, it's someone experienced that knows what they're doing. It can't be a hobbyist. Please, please, please. Don't pick a hobbyist.
What's a hobbyist?
What's a hobbyist?
Yeah.
Someone that does real estate part-time. This is my definition. Someone that does real estate part-time, that closes that doesn't, only works maybe with their friends and closes maybe one deal a year, maybe 1 to 3 deals a year if they're lucky. But it's not their full-time occupation.
I love it.
This is the most challenging. I think this is a year where the real professionals in this business are having to step up and decide that they really want to take their craft and their job very seriously, because I'm telling you, the reason my clients are winning deals is because I'm elevating my realtor game. Like I'm looking at all angles. I'm negotiating the way that a realtor needs to negotiate it. And my clients are getting deals. They're getting deals done, and they're avoiding shit like this. So, Sarah is 1,000,000% right. Do not, because you sat down with a beer on a Saturday night with your cousin and you found out that she's a realtor and she said, hey, I'll give you 2% back on if you just use me for this transaction, and all she's doing is showing up for 5 seconds, signing the papers and taking the money. I'm telling you, that's the wrong thing to do. And you can politely tell her no.
Well, and here's the other thing, this question right here, I would say a majority of builders have moved away from whatever this says right here. I'm not going to tell you. This is no longer what I'm seeing for most offerings for agent fees. So think about that too. Your realtor's working twice as hard for you on these contracts, helping you stay out of the crap on this. And builders are saying, hey, by the way, if you're going to pay that full percent that they put there, we're not paying that full amount. You have to pay your agent that fee. And I remember, 5 months ago when builders were offering me 5% to bring buyers.
Oh yeah. 5%,
6%.
Yeah.
To bring, now they're like,
and then stacking it, putting you in drawings for cars and stuff. I
Yeah.
don't think people understand what builders used to do to get us on their side.
Yeah.
Well,
and
remember, the marketing budget's separate for realtors. Like realtors are paid from the builder's marketing budget, not from the building budget. So that's the other reason why you were talking about earlier, why you can't get a better deal in the house. You're going to pay the same price regardless.
So to Kevin and Sarah's point, ask if you were to ever go to a builder and you ask them, okay, well, what's after they tell you everything with the price, you say, okay, well, what's my no realtor price? The number won't change. And if it does, and then you show up with your realtor, there you go. There is no difference.
I also make sure to tell any buyers that are interested in new construction, I let them know, like, you need to if you go to look at homes, make sure you let them know you're working with a realtor, because they've gotten really, and you guys can tell me if you're hearing this or experiencing this as well. But I let them know that what I've heard is if you go in and you get on a list or sign a contract or talk to someone and say you don't have a realtor, then once you do go under contract, you can't add the realtor onto that deal.
Even if you have an agent and you walk in the door now with some of these builders, they'll say, "Oh, you don't have an agent."
Yep.
Which is
Really?
ridiculous. Even though you tell them you have representation. It's like the same thing as telling somebody, "I have a lawyer," and then they go, "Okay, we don't give a shit."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's awful.
A really good way to handle it is if you have an idea for a builder that you're interested in, make sure that your realtor sends them an email or something to connect you first, or a call or a text or something to that effect. Or you walk in with your realtor's business card. I've given business cards out to clients if they're going to go look at houses and let's say I'm gone for the weekend.
A lot of Kevin's clients go in with his mugshot, and then they'll use that.
Speaking of mugshot,
and a
did you
handful of
see the merch?
Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of mugshot.
Quick segue. If you are in the market for some sweet merch, I recommend this fanny pack, or this phone cover, or this sweet red mug. I don't know why we went with red, but hey, I love it.
No. You have like 30 color choices.
Oh, okay, good. I'm gonna get me a pair of these leggings, and I'm gonna wear them on the channel.
Yeah.
Sarah, we'll get you a pair too. You wear them around the office.
Good things. These are only neck up videos.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Not for long.
Yeah. And you can get your own. I thought this had. Do you have the single ones on here?
Yeah, there are some. Keep going down.
Oh yeah. So you can get Ian's beret on your phone.
We're adding
Ian's
you and Kevin
sticker. The mask mandate's over, so you don't have to buy a mask anymore. So might have to take that off. You got glasses here. I mean, just some sweet swag. Feel free to load up. By the way, we dropped all the prices on this. So if you think we're getting rich off this, I can guarantee you it's like $1 maybe. So
hats are coming soon too.
Hats are coming soon. Oh yeah. I'm gonna have to hold out for a hat.
I'm gonna try to get a mullet wig. I don't know if I can make it happen, but if I can make it happen, you'll be the first to know. Wouldn't that be great? Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that'd be so fantastic.
Kevin, we're gonna have you model the leggings, okay?
I can do this.
Just from the front. You can't turn around. It's not safe for and it's NSF for YouTube.
That's correct. You get banned.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit here. Put Jeremy's face on a t-shirt so people can punch it. Is that what it says? Oh no. Yep, there you go. Punchable. I love it.
Yeah.
We should
I'm going to do it. I'm going to put your face on a t-shirt. You watch.
No, it's pinchable, he says.
Pinchable. Oh, yeah. I'm afraid if you put my face in your shirt, you get punched in the stomach. So we might not do that. All right. So we're switching gears here.
There's a couple more builder questions if you want to hit them.
Man, builder questions again.
I know.
Have like 4 hours. Which ones?
Hate builders.
The most recent question was one.
Here we go. I also see some realtors asking to sign a contract for buyer paying 3%. Look, typically they're going to ask you for that. When we send buyer reps out, it's going to say that kind of as a blanket thing.
Yep.
If for some reason that percent is different, I've never had an experience where I've gone to the buyer and said, "Hey, look, they're offering me less. You got to make up the difference." That's me personally. I don't feel that way, but
wait. What he's
buyer
saying
representation,
buyer rep agreement, but their buyer rep agreement, because this is the number one question I get on my buyer rep agreements is I do have a clause that says if the seller is not paying my commission, I can ask you as the buyer to pay for my commissions.
Yeah, that's
happened 0 times in my life. So
saying 0 times. I have had it on the other side where the seller/builder has just not paid my commission.
Yeah.
I thought about what it would take to go through the arbitration, to deal with it, the Trek attorneys or whatever. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it to hassle the client or anybody else.
Yeah.
That's funny. Whatever. All that happened is we upgraded StreamYard.
We did. That's not. Yeah. Pay the StreamYard right now. I got my tax bill, so I need more deductions for next year. Then find a new realtor then. Okay.
So Silverman has a question about visit a new build.
How often? Okay. How often will a respectable realtor visit a new build? That's a tough question to answer because I would say I'm less and less walking into new build now because we've already put what Ian said earlier. We've already done the legwork to find what builders are actually So I have a full-time assistant right now, literally full-time assistant who calls builders. And if a client is a fit for that, we're finding out, number one, if it's a list, number two, if they're doing a bid, and then we're getting all the information for that community ahead of time. So if you walk into that build, you already have that packet pretty much together. So I'm less and less walking through new builds with people. A lot of that has to do really, it's a kind of a holdover from COVID. Oh, there we go. I just demonetized the channel.
Darn it.
But a lot of that is a holdover from that. Like during that time, reps, you had to schedule a time to walk through a new build. So you couldn't even just walk up and knock on a door. You actually had to schedule a time. So a lot of that is partly the reason. So, and plus, like you could walk through 100 new builds and not one of them have inventory, and they'll be like, oh, we're going to release in 5 months. So good luck. You can see this piece of imagery behind me, but this pricing, this is not going to be here next month. So.
Yeah, I would say I do a lot of new builds, and I think it used to be where you'd have to go to the design center, maybe even multiple appointments, and you'd want to go there, support your client, say, no, don't get that blue tile that you were thinking about getting. That's not going to work if you're going to.
That's always fun. I miss that.
I know. I miss it too.
Because a lot of those companies that do that stuff, like the what's it called? The showrooms, they stop allowing realtors even be there.
Yeah.
Because of the Kofifa.
Yeah. So that's changed. I do like to get out there and walk the property a few times throughout the transaction. It depends. Some of it, there is no benefit for me being there other than just to see if there's anything going awry. But generally, I love being there for the blue tape, and I love being there before the walls are up.
Yeah.
So there are a couple times. It really depends on the builder, how much you trust the builder, how well you know the clients, and what their expectations are. If they've built 30 houses, they know what to look for, and if they're getting a third party inspector.
Yeah.
Did you know you can do that?
I would say we're still walking, like once the homes go under contract and they're being built. Yeah, we're walking those. We're going to all the walks. We're doing like a weekly walk where we go through and either snap photos or go check it out. So maybe not weekly, but we do still go through that. What about you, Kev?
I will go by and check progress on builds for sure. Take videos just to see what's going on, because one of the big values I think I add as a realtor for the new build process is having experienced that the builder is not really, I mean, they've got as much on their plate. They're not like really thinking about your specific timeline and whether or not you're going to be able to close on time, or whether or not you're going to be able to do the walkthroughs on time. So it's good to in your mind have that schedule, and then you're continually like pinging your clients and the builder like, hey, we need to schedule a walkthrough for the first time. We need to schedule a walk for and I've had success even recently where they're like, we did a walk on a new condo, and they're like, well, we don't typically do the buyer walk until the week before closing. I said, we're going to do one during the option period. So congratulations. And they said, well, we don't really do that. It's like, well, we're going to do it whether you like it or not. And I'm bringing my inspector. Yeah. So that's one of those things where you can say, is there negotiation? That to me is negotiation. You know, are you going to be negotiating the price? I mean, maybe not the price, and, maybe not like telling them that you're not going to sign certain addenda. But I have also seen one of my clients, her father was a real estate lawyer, and he redlined a builder's contract.
You have to be a lawyer to do that, though.
And yes, he did. But he did, and he's still able to get the builder to sign that same contract.
Was that in the last 2 months?
That was not in the last.
Yeah, that wasn't.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The last 2 months, things have changed pretty drastically.
But imagine though, what if you did have a good real estate lawyer and he was looking at this these clauses about this stuff about taking your home back, or some of these other weird things that they're just kind of sneaking in, but they're never mentioning to you. Do you not wonder if we just challenged it a little bit, what would happen? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, removing escalation clauses is one of those things. If it's in the contract, I mean, I doubt even now that if you had a lawyer that they'd allow you to redline that. I mean, they might. So go ahead, Ian.
I wanted to answer Why Not's question about Giddens.
All right, we'll get to that. I want to answer this question. We will answer this question. It's actually going to phase us into the next part, which is our market numbers. So re-ask this question 5 minutes, please, and we'll answer this question. I saw one I really wanted to get to. Oh, this is a good one. are realtors making more or less? I would think less because it sounds like volume is down. So 2 things. There's a lot of what Sarah said. They're hobbyists. There's one thing I do. This market sucks. It is not fun as a realtor. In fact, I put this on my Instagram today. It sucks. It is not fun for realtors. If you think we're enjoying this, the answer is no. The one benefit that I do like about this, and a lot of realtors are going to thumbs down this video because a lot of realtors in Austin watch these videos. I've ran into Ian Grossman. He watches our live streams. So hi, Ian, if you're watching.
Hi, Ian.
Yeah. But Ian's a great guy, by the way, also a YouTuber. I thought about having him on tonight. So if you watch Ian's channel and you want him on this live stream, ask nicely. We might get him on.
Go check his TikTok and Reels on Instagram too, because he's pretty funny.
Is he? Okay, good. I don't watch it. But I think a lot of those hobbyists will be out of the market very shortly because number one, they're making less, they're offering less, they're doing a lot of things to shoot themselves in the foot. And those that are working on volume right now and doing the things like Kevin said, we're doing okay. We're making it through. The
good realtors are actually there's a consolidation, I think, of volume to the better realtors in this town. Whereas there was a little bit more parity before. Jeremy's right. The good realtors are getting more of the volume. So like somebody like Kumara Wilcoxon who does like $200 million, like more people are gravitating towards people that have higher volume typically on that side because they feel like that's a successful measure. So anybody that's in that 1 to 2 or 3 transactions a year right now, I think are going to be so burned out if they're not already and have already quit.
Well, do they have the skills to win a multiple offer? No. That's the thing too. Like I have, and you guys have both worked with Sarah every now and then, but when you have an ace in your sleeve in somebody like Sarah or a really good lender and you can go, okay, look, buyer, here's the deal. I know you want to win this one. This is the home, right? Okay, well, here's what we're going to have to do. It's a little scary. I've seen that. What's that TikTok where they're like, grab my hand. It's time to go, right? Literally, that's what it's like. But if you're one of those people that's a part-time realtor, do you have the skills to win a multiple offer? Do you know what to do? Do you know how to massage that listing agent's back? Do you know how to take, like, what things to take out of that contract? Or are you just going to tell your client, hey, I haven't had a closing in 2 months. Can you just write this stupid offer? I don't care if it doesn't make appraisal. I just need a paycheck. All right.
Hey,
you get what you pay for.
I know these guys have done the same things, and Jeremy's right. Giving the listing agent a back massage, not specifically, but it gets you deals. But I was able to have this conversation with a client where she's been on a waiting list with a builder for quite some time. And as soon as mid last week, they told her that they didn't have a committed date for her on when she would be able to get her home. And then I had a few conversations with them. They called her on Friday and said, congratulations, here's your contract. You need to go ahead and purchase this home right now. So you tell me, does it make a difference or not? Right. I mean, it could be just luck, but I'm going to take credit for that one.
Well, I just had a client just yesterday find out that their MI, they were on a list with MI. I knew the rep really well. Her husband went to U of A and played football, and I like to give him a hard time because I went to Arizona State. So we riff back and forth, but I know her very well. And so I said, hey, what do we need to do to be higher on this list? And do you think that there is a way to get higher on lists? There is, right? You don't think there is, but there is. And so we asked, what are the things they need to do? They've been on a list for like 2 months. I got involved 3 weeks. We're done. So does it, even if you're on a list, getting up that list is important. So, and having a good lender. Sorry, Sarah, you've been quiet over there. I'm going to get you in here. I promise.
You're good.
All right. So let's go back to this question right about here. Because I do want to transition. We can come back to builders all we want. 600 cash, all in, low taxes, new build, approximately 2 to 2,500 square feet. Is that reasonable? Let's take this off. Hold on. Is it reasonable in this market, gentleman and lady?
Well, I guess you'd have to define reasonable. Should you do it if it fits your lifestyle? Yeah. Is it going to appreciate in equity? Like, there are a lot of questions around that. So
depends on the neighborhood.
It depends on so many things. The neighbor, yeah, that's a big one. The size of the lot, The builder.
Are you getting a $600,000 2,000 square foot home in 7704 brand new? If that's the case, then yes, do it.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah. But if it's in Temple, nothing wrong with Temple. Just saying.
Yeah, but if it's in Temple and 100 acres, Ian.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's why I said that. The lot size matters. What are the taxes? If the taxes are 3.9%, then nothing's a good deal.
Ian, I hope you haven't figured out by now. It's not the size of the lot.
You're right.
It's how you live in the home.
It's the topography.
Yeah, it's a topography. So here's the deal. Let's help answer that question here by going over the market statistics. These just came out today. If you looked at my YouTube channel on the community page, I just tossed this out here. The median for the MSA. In fact, Kevin, I saw you on Instagram stealing my post, man.
Mm-hmm.
You got credit for it.
I saw. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I saw it.
You tagged us.
So the Round Rock MSA went up 42%. So this is year over year data. So from last year to this year, and let's think about that, because by April of last year, things started slowing down a little bit.
Yep.
But prices started going up. So this is when prices were still going up. In fact, I can go back and look at that, but prices are already up. Sarah, are you having problems getting people under contract, or are your buyers having problems getting under contract because prices have gone up so much?
It's made a change. It's made a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we go. Up 42%, 28 days, down just in one, down 17 days from days on market. Closed volumes up. So yes, there are more closed, but there's less actives, which means that prices have gone up drastically. Look at this Bastrop. Remember we talked about Bastrop not too long ago?
Somebody talked about Bastrop.
Yeah, somebody's talked about Bastrop. In fact, I haven't seen them on here in a while.
He's been on here a lot. He was the first comment, remember?
Oh yeah. Oh, I haven't refreshed comments. My bad. All right. So even Bastrop, I find that number 290 a little low, but active listings there, it's down 75%. We don't really look in Caldwell County, but City of Austin, 550.
That's
nuts. That's San Diego prices before I moved here in 2013. Probably a little higher actually than that.
And I think it's important for people to look at the closed sales. So we're up 51%, but we have double the amount of people or triple the amount of people trying to buy, right? So we're up, but we're still really low inventory, which it shows there.
Go ahead.
They need to report the stat of how many offers per property now too.
Oh my gosh, that would
if we could put that in the MLS, that would be awesome. So when you close, they ask how many. They ask all this information when you put in a closed sale.
Yeah,
that would be
I was gonna say some put it in there. I saw one today.
And then I actually went ahead and I pulled the builder data and construction data as well for this month that just came out, because we were evaluating it for some things that I do on my end. But housing starts for new builds, they were actually down 13% for single family homes. And that number is actually worse because people don't realize that housing start, a lot of builders have been laying concrete, but not building. So they're not completing it. So they have more supply. So that number is actually higher, around 15% of down for single families. And there's actually some things that coincide with that. I know we've talked about lumber. We talked about all that being high, being hard to find and causing an issue. But also something that came out was that they're having difficulty finding people to work, finding labor.
Ooh, we're going to talk about that next. But
I just thought, and then also the National Association of Home Builders came out today, and they said that expect building prices to go up and to continue to expect those prices to go up more because of the labor shortage, the lumber shortage, and everything. And then also the permit numbers came out, and those are also down 4%. So builders can't find permitting, they can't find land. At least not as much as they were finding, and they're searching so they can help create more supply in this market. And we're just having more people trying to get into homes to begin with.
We're going to talk about a lot of that stuff here in a second, but yeah, That's partly the reason why we're seeing these costs jump up so much. Mark has this question. Y'all don't forget this question. I do want to answer this question. This is a very, very good question. Dropping question for the third time. One of my friends is buying an investment, but showing builder as it's a primary. What's the risk? All right, I don't want to answer that right now because I want to get through this segment, but that's a very, 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 very good question. The answer is lots of risk. And Mally, good friend Mally, we just closed on her house. Just sold her house, but yeah, she's right. We had like 20 something offers on her property. And I literally was telling agents to not offer. I was like, look, how much are you offering? Don't bother. Like legitimately don't bother. So yeah, Mally, congratulations. Heading up to the Pacific Northwest. Gonna miss you. Okay. So what about these numbers that we're seeing here scares you? What about these numbers is eye-opening? What's the positive and negatives of these numbers? I'd love to hear your feedback. Kevin, do I have to go, Kevin?
I mean, I'm a chatty Cathy though. I feel bad because I feel like I dominate.
Ian, all right, sorry, go to Ian.
I think it's just important for people that purchase a new build property and they get excited that they have equity in the property when they close, and then they don't realize that their taxes are going to be increased substantially when it comes due next year. So that's one thing. And then that goes for anybody who's like, oh, my neighbor just sold his house for X amount, 20% over. That's great for right now until you start having to protest, which was yesterday or whatever. So last Friday, sorry.
I think one of the big things that I've seen too is, don't wait. I have people that are still thinking like the market's going to turn or a bubble's going to burst, or, they get discouraged like we were talking about before, and they decide to just hold off and wait a year. And I think if anything, these numbers are telling us pricing is going up, inventory still is not there, supply is not there. And if you wait, there's going to be a big cost of waiting, where it's going to cost you so much more money. The same house is probably going to be, so much more expensive. So if you're looking at this and you're on the fence, get on a builder wait list, get with your realtor, get on a builder wait list, get pre-approved, and just keep trying now and keep on keeping on. Don't wait.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you've heard don't wait forever, right? If you've been any remotely interested in Austin real estate for the past, 10 years, you've heard don't wait, get something. And now you see it.
What are the chances taxes go down if the market changes or corrects? I don't even know if that's a word anymore, market corrects. But what if the market goes down? Do property taxes go down with it?
Hell no.
Dinosaur D, great question. The answer is no. I don't think so. I mean, it'd be an act of God for them to.
Well, you have to understand though. That's a lagging property taxes, and they're written like this as a lagging indicator because they're paid in arrears, right? Yeah. So by the time that there's even a market correction, the market has already re-corrected itself in Austin. So you can't make a real good case that the value of the property has dipped substantially. You might be able to, if you have a good realtor that can help you pull some strategic comps, you could present that to the assessment county assessment bureau, and then maybe fight for that. But no, long term, it's not going to stay down. Because here's the deal: houses are in short supply, right? Mm-hmm. Like they're in short supply, so the prices are going up because demand is higher than ever. This is the law of supply and demand. We have this conversation every single week. Right?
Yeah. At what point does the demand slow?
Yeah, demand hasn't slowed. The only reason demand would potentially slow. We've talked about this. Hey, inflation's rising a bit. It's risen quite a bit this month.
6%.
It was higher. It's a little over 4.25% right now, but
it's 4.2% year over year.
But will that make some people a little bit cautious? Yes, that'll make the general home buyer a little cautious. But
I hate this. Why not? Yes, you can protest. Good freaking luck, bro. God.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You finished, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You can protest. You can protest. You can go protest in the street right now to your taxes.
Oh,
good
yeah.
luck getting them down. Like you can go yell at whoever you want to get your taxes down, dude. I'm telling you. Like I love I'm protesting my taxes. You know how many times out of 6 years, how many times I've actually won and gotten lower? Twice out of 6 years. So come on, man.
Like you saw those numbers. Your value has not gone down. I think people just need to understand that you're not protesting because you just don't want to pay them. You're protesting saying that the value isn't there.
And how do you show that in 2020? How do you show that when obviously year over year? How do you show that? I mean, Williamson County up 45%, and they're saying, "Oh, your taxes are the 23% higher." How do you protest? No, I swear they're not that much. My house fell down last year. I mean, come on.
Yep.
Sorry.
Do you ever get the buyer, like, okay, so you know how we're talking about earlier about like don't Google, be informed, and occasionally we'll get those buyers that will try to figure out how much a house is worth, and they'll go on CAD on the appraisal district, and they'll be like, it's only worth this, and you want me to bid this or offer this on it, like that, but it says like it's 250, and you want me to offer like 400, and that's the biggest. And it's like, no, that's not the actual market value. Like that's not. It's very frustrating and having that conversation.
I've seen people protest their taxes, Dinosaur D, protest their taxes and them go up even higher.
Somebody just did that too.
If you don't know what you're doing and don't hire a company, that's why I no longer do it myself. I just hire a company. So that's just me personally. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off. So I'm getting fired up about taxes.
Go. I'm enjoying this. Keep going.
Go ahead, Ian. I cut you off, man.
Oh, I was just saying that someone had just said that exact same thing, that they had protested and it had gone up. So, I agree. Have a company do it. I think the people that are going to get hit real hard are the people that don't know that they need a homestead exemption on their primary residence.
That's huge.
That's a big deal. There are still people out there. If you look, there's still people out there that are buying houses. They'll go to let's say a builder. Builder doesn't. I'm not against builders. A builder may not educate them to do this, or the builder's title rep or whatever. They may not know that they need to put a homestead exemption. Taxes spike, and you're not protected from that extreme 42% spike. So make sure you have a realtor that explains that to you or shows you how to do that. It's free. Don't pay for it either. Investors, sorry.
Yeah.
That's just sorry. Like I don't know what to tell you. You're going to have to absorb the cost. And people ask about rent going up. I hear that all the time. It's not here yet, but it will be.
Oh, we're on the cusp.
It's gonna come. So everybody who's renting saying I'm gonna rent until I'm ready to buy, it's gonna get you. It's coming
right back to what Sarah said about people wanting to wait.
We just started this. It's another lagging thing, right? So like our big price boom just happened in the last 3 months. That's 3 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't even have almost finished a fitness program in that time. Let alone
10 pounds.
alone change
that's
the entire
not true.
economy.
I went to Orange Theory last week just for 5 days, and I lost like 38 pounds. So I'm good.
Did you?
Yeah, 38. Can you tell?
Lasting change. Yeah. No, I can. You look amazing, actually, Jeremy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, 5 days.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go drink for 45 now straight. So,
But
just kidding.
The way that it's going to play itself out is that if you want my predictions, because my economy predictions, eventually there will be some offer fatigue from buyers right now, and you'll give up on the fact that you may not be. Listen, there's not 96 offers per home now, but there's still, like Ian said, 40 offers per home. That means 39 people are walking away empty-handed that day from that house. And if they're writing on 2 or 3 homes, then okay, let's divide that by. So 15 people are walking away every single week without getting a house, or maybe even more, half of those people.
Right.
At what point are they going to have to just like rent something, right?
And how many of those people wrote more than one offer?
Yeah,
that weekend.
At some point, they are going to have to rent something, and then you're going to see a huge dump into the rental market, which is already constrained. And you're going to see prices there jump up. I think you're going to see a step function jump in rental prices over the next 6 to 12 months in Austin as the buyers get offer fatigue. That's my guess. And I'm already seeing some of this in some of these markets.
Yep.
So if you're an investor buying a house, then be prepared for that.
Yep. Go ahead.
There's so much. So right now, in the last 7 days, there were 43 houses that went through a price reduction. There are houses out there. You got to hop on it.
Yep.
And I don't think people pay attention to that kind of thing. That's so important. So I really wanted to get to that. I think that's important.
I tell all my clients, if you think you can get a deal, The only time in the week that we can really get a deal is on Monday, Tuesday. And what happens every Monday is I go through all the MLS, and you can go through the notes of all these listings, right? Every Monday I do this. I go through the notes and I'll look to see if they have multiple offers. If they don't, and it's something a client of mine could be interested in, I text the agent, hey, did you get any offers? In the agent AREA, the Facebook group, I ask, hey, who didn't get offers today?
Yep.
Who made it through the weekend without offers? I ask every single Monday, because if there's something that a client can jump on, I literally got somebody under contract for $495. Thank you, Sarah. You just saved their butts. On a property that was listed, I think, at $5,000. We went $5,000 under on a Monday because it made it through the weekend, and they took it. So not a multiple offer. So it was the first one in like 6 months, but it was a Monday. We saw it. We went, and I literally told them, if you don't write an offer today and it sits till Monday, somebody's going to show up after us.
Yeah, look for terminations too, back on market status stuff.
Back on market.
They're desperate at that point too. And by that time, the people that were originally interested have probably already moved on to another house.
Well, I mean, it's contingent on how much they were selling it for. Like if they're selling over what it's would be appraised at, right, or over market value, I guess it might be back on market, and they could have been selling it and not actually have anywhere to go, just to try to see if they can get more for the house. I have that too. I've seen that.
I hear the face fat's the hardest to lose. Congrats on the weight, troll. That's funny. That's funny. It's a good one. All right. So, I mean, what else about this market? Obviously, we talk about the market every week. I just really wanted to hit these numbers in this segment. What else about these numbers is eye-opening, or do you think is a positive? I mean, last week we saw 900 homes hit the market between Wednesday and Friday, which I thought was impressive. I thought it was a good opportunity for people to get homes. What do you think?
Not for my clients. I still can't find anything.
So I started doing a series on my channel that goes over like what houses actually closed at versus what you saw them listed for. And those have been pretty popular, because I think when people start seeing it, like, what was the house that you were trying to buy last month? Hey, it closed today. And you see that it actually closed for 100,000 over, because you're never going to see that on Zillow or Realtor or any of those sites. So when you see that, it really starts to hit you. Like, Sarah, they're not playing these games.
Sarah, there was one in your neighborhood. It was a really unique house listed for like $949. And I know the agent really well. So I asked her, I was like, hey, like, just shoot me straight. What do you think? What do we got to be? She's like, at least 250,000 over. I'm like, all right, I believed her. And that's the other thing is like, people ask, like clients will ask me like, well, if they're telling you 100,000 over, do you really believe them? If an agent tells me that their offers are 22% or 23% over list price, and we decide not to put in an offer, then what good did they just do their client? So, I mean, there's some people I don't believe for sure, but I'm like, yes, I believe this person. She's a good agent. We all know her. She's very good. And so, yeah, I just saw that one close for 255,000 over list price in your neighborhood. Congratulations. You got some equity, girl.
Maybe we should sell.
Yeah. Ian's available.
Aaron said you'll see those numbers on Redfin. I think if they're listed by Redfin, they might publish those numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Texas is a non-disclosure state. You should not see what people are paying ever. It's really important. Otherwise, how do you protest?
Right.
How long after closing will I receive this?
And that goes out to people that are buying houses. When you get those mailers that say, how much did you pay for your home? We're going to don't do it.
Trash.
Trash. Shred it. Call them back and say, take me off your list.
That's a big one, especially for first-time home buyers. I always try to let them know, like, once your deed and everything gets filed, it's public record. So there's people that are specifically hired to scroll through that stuff and send you junk to make it look really official. And they'll make it look like it's from your lender. They'll make it look like it's from the city or state. And it's in 99.9% of the time, when you get anything like that in the mail, it's junk. But I always tell people, snap a picture. I'll confirm that for you. But yeah, never give anyone what you paid for your house. Never tell anyone that.
And Aaron said that you see it on Redfin, but not on Zillow. Zillow is now a brokerage. Redfin, I believe they have brokerage, right?
They have agents. Yeah.
So when they list a home, it's the choice of the realtor to disclose that, and it shouldn't be. It should be the buyer's choice. So if it's on there, you should ask them to remove it. You don't want it to be publicly known what you paid for this house.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to protest your taxes and it's way lower.
Jeremy, you're talking about that one just closed in that neighborhood. It was $256,000 over ask.
Yeah. Is that how much it was?
It was $255,000 over ask.
Nailed it.
Yeah. And guess what? That's the same street that I own my house on, by the way.
The one you sold?
Yeah. For half that price.
I see all these people jumping in saying Redfin shows the sold prices. Can you give me an address? I'm going to go look at that address.
You have to be logged in under their account to have access to that data.
Okay, so you as a direct consumer can see
Correct.
Every single house that sold.
Correct. You just have to have a Redfin account.
The sold price.
Correct.
Yeah, we should sue them for that.
Yeah, that should be very illegal.
I don't know how they get around it, but they certainly do.
Well, now imagine if your county appraiser just creates a Redfin account and you go to protest. You're like, no, it's not worth that. And then they just run the comps on Redfin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks for you.
I mean, so much for being a non-disclosure state if Redfin's go ahead and doing that. So shame on you, Redfin. All right, so let's keep rolling here. So we talked about the market numbers. I do want to come back and talk about builders. So a few of you have asked builder questions. One person asked, is there any time you would ever steer a client away from a builder? I do want to answer that question. So if you're the one that did that, throw that one back on because I do want to answer that. That's actually a great question because number one, we can't steer, but we can advise you on certain things and we will do that. So I want to talk about that. There's a question that I had told somebody earlier to ask again. Make sure you ask that one. I already forgot. Sorry, I'm reading the comments, but I want to get to this. And we had some topics here, right? So the governor of Texas just removed the I don't have I didn't transition fast enough. My bad, everybody.
Unemployment benefits.
Unemployment benefits. There you go. Sorry, I was going to try to pull it up. So what do you think that's going to do? I mean, there's a good article in the Statesman today. What do you think that's going to do with some of our problems as far as we have a lot of issues? Like I know a lot of restaurants are dying for people to come in and work. We're seeing issues with supply. Will that help supply? Will that alleviate some of the problems we're facing? So I'd love to get your feedback on that from the Migos and Sarah. I'll let you go first, Sarah, because I think you had done some good research on that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see this from both directions, but to be honest, I was going through and I was going to write down the numbers, but I didn't. But basically, a majority of kind of these jobs, like you're talking about, like service industry, restaurant, things like that, a lot of these people are getting more money by staying home and getting the unemployment benefits and the additional extra money from unemployment than they are if they're actually working those positions, which is unfortunate. But for like restaurant owners and things like that, and a lot of self-employed folks that have minimum wage type jobs. And so I'm decided to kind of switch this on like a lending perspective. So if you are collecting unemployment and not employed, you can't qualify to buy a home. We can't use unemployment income to qualify you. So if you are wanting to buy a home and get in a good position to buy a home, you need to start working because depending on what type of income you're making, then you might have to be on that job for 6 months to a year now because you've been on unemployment for so long. And that hurts you and it counts against you. And then there's a larger gap. The other piece is, I know I kind of mentioned it before about building, is that a lot of builders are having struggles right now because they don't have labor and they're having problem getting enough people to do those construction positions, which is also pushing out their turn times and pushing out being able to get these houses up as quickly as they're wanting to get more supply out on the market. So I think by getting rid of this unemployment piece benefits early, it might, force some more people to get back out there in the in the workforce to start, working and building up those positions again. I did also pull some numbers that said, that the unemployment applications are declining and they're near all-time lows since, what are you calling it, FIFA?
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things I thought was really interesting, and sorry, this is a little kind of a little all over the place, but was the fraudulent claim information. Did you read about that? And how fraudulent claims, because a lot of people are doing identity theft so they could collect this money. And that TWC said that for 2021, there are 377,000 suspicious claims. And that's up from 2020 being 234,000 suspicious claims.
Wow.
And then if you compare to 2019, before all this started, right, there was only 1,142 red flags for fraudulent claims. So, I mean, that money is going to people that don't need it. And I got some of this information off of FRED, which is the Federal Reserve economic data as well. But anyway, that's some of my 2 cents from the things that I was seeing from that article.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's a ton of information, but I think the thing that a lot of people are hoping is that it does put more people back to work in construction jobs, which aren't the sexiest of jobs, let's be honest. And in this article, they said, in fact, there were nearly 60% more jobs often open and listed in Texas today than there were in February 2020, the month before the pandemic hit. So that's what Abbott said. So, I mean, how many restaurants have you been to where it takes forever to get anything? Everybody's got a sign on the wall asking for help. I think the problem in what you even said was that those jobs might pay less than what actually somebody's getting on unemployment right now. You can chastise that business all you want, but unless you're willing to pay more for that burger or whatever you're consuming, that's going to be, the restaurants at some point has to be able to either pay somebody enough money to come in and work and either figure out how to put that commodity or that, thing that you're going to eat at a certain price that you're actually going to pay. So they have to find that fine balance. As a business owner, I can relate. I mean, there's a lot of things I have to manage. Like, what is my time worth in this scenario? What do I need to pay in order to make my time worth it? So I understand it. It's not a fun position to be in for sure. I would not want to be a restaurant owner right now. In fact, maybe I would. I mean, if you're in Kyle, the mayor Kyle said the tax revenue's up really, really well because people are eating local and staying local, but more people need jobs to take those jobs.
That's the key right there. That last line, more people need to take the jobs that are available if they can. There are a lot. Austin is booming with opportunity. It really is. And I think people just need to evaluate that. And, I've been in that, I guess I haven't really been in that situation, but I know a lot of people who've been in the situation where they haven't been able to get a job when they needed one. Right. And it's tough. But then if you're getting unemployment and you get used to that lifestyle, I had a friend that was on unemployment for almost a year. And this was years ago, but he was on unemployment forever. He was like, why would I go back to work? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm getting paid for this and I can make cash on the side. I was like, okay. So I think that's short-term thinking.
If you don't think Jeremy's influential, just so you know, since the show started, Bitcoin has dropped $2,000.
That is Jeremy's fault. Absolutely.
Jeremy's fault. So if you're mad, then blame Jeremy.
You're muted, Jeremy. You're talking up.
No, hold on. If you're mad that Bitcoin went down, just realize that I'm a billionaire because I just sold all my Bitcoin. So in your faces, you crypto nerds.
He just sold all. He was the whale that dropped the price, just so you're aware.
Yeah, that was me. But I mean, what do you think about this, K-Rod?
I mean, here's the deal. So this is a debate between political parties too, right? Like, should we get it or should we not? I think that it's a two-edged sword because while that money was going to unemployment benefits, it was probably just going back to Best Buy or things like that. You know,
It was getting pumped back in the economy.
It's going back into the economy either way. So it didn't really matter to me. Like, I wasn't upset that they were like, listen, if they were willing to do that and they wanted to make it, great. Now, the reality does have to hit at some time. You're going to have to go back and work. And I know some of my friends that own businesses, the service business, like finding people to work and service at businesses has been tougher. So yeah, that's a big negative that I think is going to be, I'm happy to see that will get back into it. I just think people are going to be upset about it because they're going to have to go back and actually work now.
Well, you have half the world that is like, hey, well, now you can just work remote. And then you have the other jobs where it's like, oh, you actually have to go there.
Yeah, and he said, one of my friends said he couldn't find anybody to wash dishes, you know, like $25 an hour, even can't find anybody to
That's
wash
what
dishes.
I mean. 25 Rudy's, you say hi for $15, $20 an hour.
Right.
Hi.
I used to work
at Rudy's or whatever they say when you walk in.
Are you new here?
Yeah. I love it. I mean, I think it's incredible. You need all kinds. You need everything. You need the personality. You need the marketing. You need the you need it all.
Yeah. I'm ready for some economic normalcy. Like, I think we're in a really weird, like hyper attenuative economy right now, where like nothing's really that normal. I mean, prices are massively inflated. You know, cryptocurrency's booming. Inflation's also rising. Housing markets are going crazy. Like literally everything ever from sand to semiconductors to chlorine to paper towels to houses are all in short supply because condiments, like I saw that now, like Chick-fil-A is restricting condiment usage now because their supply chain for condiments is constrained. So it's kind of a weird time. So I'm actually ready to get back to some normalcy where we see some predictable economic factors.
So yes, this is a real estate channel, but you have to understand that these policies that change actually affect real estate. That's why we're talking about them.
Sure.
And while we might be realtors, we also have opinions. So whether our opinions stink or not, we can talk about it. So
I mean, how is this not real estate related?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not real estate related.
Well, my major question is, how does this impact, right? So if people are going back to work, does it actually help with some of these supply issues, right? Do building costs get cheaper because now they have employment again? Those are all questions that really I want to tie into this, but I like it. I mean, it's a great topic in general because anytime Texas takes off a mask mandate, does whatever, everybody in the media has to come in and write about it. And you know what? I don't care what the media says about Texas because we live here and I love Texas. I've been here 9 years and you know what? I'm very Texan. I appreciate what Texas has done.
Yeah, there are a few things that it does impact real estate. So here's an example where you buy your home when traffic triples. Right?
Yeah.
If you're one of these people that needs to be in the
How is this gonna impact traffic? Because it will.
It already has.
Yeah.
I mean, I was out, when was it even yesterday? Like 2:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was like straight packed everywhere I went around town. I was like, wow. And listen, I don't even think traffic's that bad in this town, by the way. If you want to argue with me on that, fine. I don't think it's that bad. There were more people on the road, right? Mm-hmm. It's not that traffic was worse. There were just more people on the road. Okay, I just noticed. But yeah, I'm ready for it. I mean, does it affect housing? Of course it does, because guess what? Just like Sarah said, now these people are going to be able to claim consistent income after 6 to 12 months, and they're going to want to go buy a house now too.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to affect it.
So, and I think we've all talked about this before. Like that's why they have to build these little entertainment centers, right? Like the Domain and all that. He did say that there is a shortage.
Condom shortage.
I didn't say it. Master Jedi said it.
I was going to say something, but I can't. I just can't. I can't. I can't say it.
It doesn't matter.
I can't say it.
I read that article. Oh,
I can't say it.
Ian, this is kid friendly.
I'm trying to throw some in there.
He's just kid friendly, man.
What did he say?
Don't worry about it.
I'll put it in the chat, in the private chat. Go ahead, Sarah.
I read that article. Dinosaur D. Yeah, no, there's actually, it was really interesting. Like globally, this housing problem is happening everywhere. And it was really interesting because they were interviewing realtors in other countries that are having the exact same issues that we're having with housing shortage, supply issues, not enough homes, and offering over asking. And it's a global issue. It's not just here in Austin or here in the US, it's everywhere. And it was really interesting to see all the similarities, even though those industries are a little different, and lending is especially different in other countries. But yeah, I got you. Have y'all read the article?
Yeah, I read CNN. I mean, I read everything.
I do too.
I mean, why not? I mean, just because it says CNN doesn't mean they're gonna. I mean, here's the thing: everybody wants to, oh, Fox News, oh, CNN. You have to understand that 50% of every article is going to have some BS in it. You just have to look your way through it, no matter who writes it. So if it's a good article, it's a good article. If it makes good points, it makes good points. Like,
get this, I only read extreme media now. I want to see how
like the Onion.
Not extreme, but like I only read like
Reddit,
opinions, like whatever the crazy opinions are, because I want to know how everybody's spinning the information. Like I know what I feel about the stuff that's going on. These are facts and data. I want to hear what these places have to say.
Yeah, so going back to this, sorry. As far as global housing shortage, inflation, I read somewhere, and I could be wrong with the numbers here, but in the last 5 months, it was somewhere to the fact like 500 billion worth of was pumped into the stock market, and it took a decade in order for that to happen. Before that same amount, whatever that amount was, it was like 5 billion or 500 billion, whatever it was. But that's also partly why we're seeing such high, potentially such high inflation. What'd you say, 4.25%? What was something like that, Sarah?
Yeah, it was 4.2% for year-over-year inflation. And so, I mean, if we look at last month, it was 2.6. So that was a huge climb. And that was one of the reasons why when that guy announced last week, rates just went completely the other way. But it's
are rates ticking up? FOMO, affordability ticking time bomb. Are rates going up? Master Jedi.
Yes, rates are going up.
Damn it, Sarah! I have an investment property closing next year. Come on.
They leveled out this week though.
Buy crypto.
Kevin, you're fake news. Sorry. All right. Ian in the private chat. You won't hear me. I can't say it. It's a private chat. All right. So let's move on. I do still want to talk about new builds. I think we covered the Abbott stuff pretty well. And what are your thoughts too? I mean, put them in the chats. We'll bring it back up. But what are your thoughts? Is removing these unemployment benefits helpful? Does it hurt? What does that do? I'm going to hear you in the comments. But let's move on. My homie in Austin, Kevin with the mullet, wanted to talk about the economy. Kevin, you have the floor.
We've talked about quite a bit of it so far, and I want to just make sure that people are kind of well aware, because if you're only watching CNN and Fox News for your information, then you're going to feel probably however these people feel about this. Inflation is kind of the buzzword right now. Yes, I don't disagree with that. I'm not trying to act like there aren't economic factors at play, but the reason that you're seeing inflation so much right now is because of the restricted supply on almost everything. Like literally everything has been supply restricted because the supply chain over the last 12 months has been shut down because of the C word. So with inflation, as quickly as it rises, it can fall pretty rapidly too. So just because you see a tick up in inflation like that doesn't mean like forever and ever that it's going to be this. It's just like inflation is just the relative goods of the prices that we're paying. So what happens if overnight the supply chain does catch up with all these things and prices start to settle down pretty quick? Well, what you're going to see is as demand decreases, you're going to see prices leveling out. So in the short term, I think you'll see, that's what I'm saying. I'm ready for some normalcy and predictability for what our economy is doing. But relative to whatever the economy is doing, the housing market, and specifically Austin's housing market, because of those economic factors, do not pay attention to those national chains on whether or not you're going to be making decisions on buying in this market right now. The reality is, if you don't buy earlier and you're thinking about buying in Austin, you're going to pay more if you wait later. You're going to pay more. You're going to pay a higher price for the home that you're buying. And also probably you're going to pay a higher interest rate as well. So if you're thinking about buying, I'm telling you, the sooner that you can get into this, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a realtor. I feel the same pressure of myself to start looking at more opportunities from my side. I want to find more opportunities that I can get involved in as well, because this is a limited time opportunity that's not going to be around like this forever.
I think a good point too to that is what you were saying, like, what does inflation mean, and what are those numbers? Where do they come from? Like, what are we comparing to? And when you look at like that increase, right, like the 4.2 that we were talking about, it's year over year. And you think about it, okay, where were we last year at this time? Everything was shut down. So of course that number is going to be huge, and a big increase, because last year at this time, things were shutting down and there was no economy, there was no business, nothing was happening. So you're going to go from numbers, especially if you look at the last 12 months, of like negative numbers and like 0.01 to now having, 1%, 2%, 3%. So what you're going to see as we go further along in this year, when we're comparing those year over year numbers, and when we had started opening back up and business had started happening more, and we saw more money passing hands, then that number is going to start leveling out. And that's why we're thinking that we're going to have a stark increase in rates right now because of that scary year-over-year inflation number. But then hopefully the thought is that once we get more into the fall and winter time, when those numbers start leveling out, then rates will start leveling out. Not go back to historic lows, but at least start leveling out from the higher numbers that we're starting to see now and over the summer.
We are getting to a point where supply chains are starting to catch up with things as well, just so you're aware. I mean, the same thing's going to happen with build prices, right? Lumber is not going to be elevated in price forever and ever and ever. Will it take a little while? Sure. I mean, it's going to take a little time, but we're not talking about decades. We're talking about, 1 or 2 years. Yeah, 1 or 2 years.
And that's why I've been saying in a lot of my videos that, like, everybody's like, oh, the market's going to crash. When the bubble crashes, the pop or whatever. I mean, things are going to catch up. Like, if anything starts to happen, it's going to be honestly probably by or after the next election. And then that president's going to get blamed for it, whether it's this one or the next one, doesn't matter. But that's like, what do we have to tell us that it's going to happen this year or next year? I mean, we're already in a perfect storm. We need another perfect storm in order for that bubble to really pop. And that perfect storm is a ton of people losing their jobs, a ton of people putting their houses on the market at the same time, interest rates going to astronomical levels, Bitcoin going to the moon, and Elon losing every Tesla on the planet, and we lose electricity, and Ian can't pick me up at my house to drive to San Antonio in a Tesla. I mean, that's crazy.
My little camper has solar on it, so I might be able to make that work.
Well, the sun's going to go away, Ian. So there you go.
Disappear.
Constant cloud.
UVB rates, they still charge.
The only bubble popping is the condom. What? Oh, sorry, wrong question. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was a funny one. Sorry, Sarah.
All I was going to say is that I tell people this all the time too, if we're talking about Austin specifically, is that if you look historically at Austin, even through 2008, that we always had a strong housing market, and it was not artificially inflated. And even through that time, we didn't see a huge hit that a lot of other places in the country did, because we do have a strong base here and we do have a strong economy here. So people that are scared about losing equity and about making a bad decision by purchasing in Austin, even with these high numbers, I think it's still a good investment because Austin has always been very strong. And, there's jobs here. More jobs are coming, more companies are coming. I think it's still a strong investment. We're not going to see, a lot of people underwater on their houses. I don't think that's because we just historically haven't seen that here.
I'm reading through the comments.
Yeah, me too. Some of these comments are great. All right. Let me just take a quick pause and say thank you for everyone that's consistently here dropping comments. For those that pop in every now and then and drop comments, thank you. Flashback Nancy got booted from YouTube, but she still watches. She just can't comment. So Flashback Nancy, what's up? Good to see you. She'll email me later and say thank you for that. So I just got to say, some of you make this so much fun. So I really do appreciate that. Mally, love you to death. If interest drops, you can always refinance. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of people did last year. And that's why I think here's the perfect storm, right? So a year ago, interest rates went stupid low in the middle of the pandemic. So what did people do? They refinanced. I refinanced 3 properties.
Yeah.
So Sarah did my refinances. So, I mean, so now you own something, your payment's super low on it. Why would you sell right now? You have you're better off renting it and then buying something else. So even my properties, I would rather rent out than go buy another home. And then I put a pool in. So that really sucks. Don't put a pool in. Sorry. They're super expensive. Go ahead.
Did you want to go back to that comment from earlier about buying a home, a new build home as a primary, but it's really an investment?
Yes, that's a good one. Is everyone done with the economy? Raise your hand. Kevin's not done with the economy.
Nobody's done with the economy.
All right, Kevin. So, all right. So let's go. We're going to go back to the viewer questions. We're going to start now with viewer questions, builders, all that good stuff. We're about 2 hours in. So I want to go through these questions. So start popping those in. We will get to those. Sarah, what was the question? And let's answer it.
I don't. So basically, from what I remember the question being, and please put it back in there if you're still watching, is that his friend was under contract for a new construction community, and he's buying it as a primary, but it's actually an investment property. Mm-hmm. And is that a problem? And the answer is yes. That's a big problem. The problem is that from a lending point of view is that's fraud. So you can't, and I don't know how that person structured that loan, but if they're getting a primary residence loan, but the intention is for that to be an investment property, and they're not getting an investment property loan because the builder won't allow them to go under contract because they don't allow investors in that community. That is fraud, and you can't do that. And if you do that, you risk going to jail and paying a fine and all that fun stuff. So,
Real Housewives couple went to jail for mortgage fraud.
Wait, what?
the Real Housewives couple on New Jersey.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I don't know the particulars on that situation. I don't know if the lender is involved in it or not. They shouldn't be. Or maybe I'm wrong and that community is allowing investors to buy in, but I would just be very scared about that because that's very risky, and that is the definition of fraud.
And so the other side of that is if the builder finds out and they are not allowing investors, they can pull that contract and take your earnest money as well. So I think what he had said in that comment later down in the comments was that they had purchased it and then went back and refied it. Still, potentially that's, you did commit mortgage fraud if that was the case, like Sarah said. But some of these builders that they find out when you're going to when you're under contract, you say, no, this is not a investment property, but then you get an investment loan. They can pull that contract, take your earnest money because you violated the contract, and then boom, you're out $50,000, whatever it was that you paid. So yeah, that's the problem. That is the problem. Number one, did you commit mortgage fraud? If you did go through with that and say, this is my home, and then refi it into something else, the government finds out. I mean, you've been since committed mortgage fraud if they can prove that. Mm-hmm. Right, Kevin?
Was I supposed to answer that question?
No, I just
that was a question, and yeah, it's mortgage fraud. Don't do it. Now, okay, here's the real question. If it's cash,
wait, what the hell are you talking about? I'm sorry, I'm removing that moderator. Was that a bot you put on there?
I have a bot on my channel, and
get rid of that bot.
I did.
All right.
So
sorry,
what-
why not? You were not spamming. Sorry.
yeah, that was an accident. What is
Wait, and to hold on to answer his question, yes. Yeah.
so
Go
what
ahead.
if it's cash and you don't have a mortgage?
So in that same scenario, if you're buying a property cash and you're going to buy it as an investment, and you bought it saying you were going to procure that property and it was going to be your primary residence, it's a good question.
But that's because the new builders have already said that they're gonna fight back if you try to do that. We talked about that earlier tonight, right? About that
Yeah, but you're not getting like a second mortgage. They don't know. They don't know that you're not moving into it.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, listen, I mean, how did it's the same thing? My clients bought a home in November. When they bought that home in November, they were not. Well, everybody's an investor. You know, I feel like that, right? You're investing in real estate.
If you're buying anything,
you just happen to be living in your investment, right? Mm-hmm. But they didn't know that her husband would be transferred in 6 months. So, should they be penalized for it?
So there's got to be some gray area.
Can they rent it out? Right? What you just said? Go, Jeremy. What you were saying? Finish your thought.
Go ahead.
No, I want you to finish your thought.
No, I was just saying, well, that's the thing. How do they prove that? How do you know that there's got to be gray area, right? So in your scenario, how do they say that there's malicious intent with that? How do you show that there was intent to defraud? That's where things are, some gray area.
I just think this gets into the slippery slope of home usage, and I'm not sure that that's legally enforceable.
I know from a lending perspective,
HOA is the one entity that could, which has been in the comments. That is an entity that could try to enforce it. So if they're like peeking in the windows and you never moved into the house, then
who's that?
If you were to purchase a house with cash,
the builder, you mean?
Yeah, from the builder. Yeah.
Do you think the builder really gives a rip after that? You think they actually do an audit?
I don't know. I think it would depend on how small the neighborhood is. I think it would depend on what the HOA is like in that neighborhood.
We are not lawyers. We are not lawyers.
No, we're not. We can't.
I don't know. I don't know. These are good questions. I don't know the answers to any of these questions.
I know. That's why I think that's why we're talking about it, right? We are realtors, not lawyers. If you want legal counsel, go seek out a lawyer or an attorney.
I will say though that as far as you talking about gray area, like with your client Kevin, that had the relocation because of the job. I will say that on the lending side of that, I know this isn't like with the builder and the contract, but we have guidelines about that where it makes it okay, like to get another loan within a 12-month period. If we show that it's due to job or relocation or like an emergency, like someone died and they have to go move back home or something like that, there are guidelines in place to account for that. So it doesn't count against that person if they have to convert to a rental and get a new loan. Even FHA, even government loans that typically only allow you to have one loan at a time does offer some options to get a second one without having to sell first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the answer to this question 2 years or is it 1 year?
Oh, okay. So this is like a little bit tricky because there's not an exactly something that says you have to live in the home for a specific period of time before you can rent it out. When you sign your documents, it does say that you plan on living there as your primary residence for at least 12 months. That is in your closing documents. Now, if like what we were just saying, if there's a life event that happens, if you have to relocate due to a job, family, emergency, whatever, extenuating circumstance, then you can, rent it out sooner. I don't know anyone that's actually paying attention to those things. Not to say that no one isn't, but it's not. If technically the paperwork says 12 months, but there's extenuating circumstances, you can do it sooner than that.
That explains that.
We need to get Master Jedi and Dinosaur D on the episode together.
Yeah. Any cops watching? Are the FUDs watching?
Buds.
Yeah.
What I was also going to say is a lot of people, this happened last year a lot with refinances. When you refinance something as when you refinance something as a primary residence, because a lot of people, what they're doing last year was refinancing a home as their primary and then turning around immediately to buy a new primary residence and convert that to an investment property. That is also actually fraud. So, and you would think that was just a smart decision, right? Like as a regular person. But when you sign your paperwork, when you refinance a primary, it says that you plan on living in that home as your primary for the next 12 months. So that's also something that a lot of people didn't realize is a rule or guideline as well.
I could just see these two in a jail cell watching together. God, it's such a good show. Hey, can you pass me the toothbrush? Oh man. Okay. Fraud. We are not advocating that you fraud anyone on this channel. Definitely 100% do not commit fraud in any capacity. Carlos, I actually have an update on this. So I had a client, not with MI, but was doing Lennar in Estancia. Mm-hmm. So let me set the mood for you here. So this client didn't always listen to what I said. It's a longtime client of mine. Bought several homes with me. Didn't always listen to what I said. And I said, hey, if a good property comes up before these homes give out pricing with Lennar, we should probably buy one. No. I want to wait out. I want to wait on this list for these homes with Lennar. I want to wait on this list for these homes with Lennar. I'm like, but we don't know where the prices are going to be. So finally we found a house for in the mid-4s at Estancia. The condo section there is a resale home that we bought in the mid-4s. Today he texts me. The prices for the home in Lennar were $595. I just saved that guy over $130,000 because he finally listened to me. $595. So yeah, so that's the point. That's the question. Is it worth it to go through and wait on a list with the build? That's the video this week for next week. Is it worth the time to go through and wait on a list for a build? Is it worth the time to go in and what are the repercussions of writing one of these major over list price offers with a bid? Or do you just suck it up and try to buy something in the resale market? That is the video for this week. So just landed at home. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Somebody else take over. Lord, take the wheel. Do you have stuff again? So yes, Carlos, to answer that question, yes, Hills of Estancia, it is a little bit noisy. I think it is a fantastic area to buy in. Now you got to be careful over there because if you buy in the older section and the condo section, the HOAs actually, or the property taxes are a lot less. I think 1.8%. If you buy in the newer section, there's PIDs in there, so it's like 2.6 or something like that, maybe 2.7, something like that. So that's one thing you got to be careful of. As far as building with MI, I love MI. I love the fact that they didn't go to this bid process. I like that they stuck to their guns after pressure from everybody. And they said, hey, look, we're not going to do these crazy where we're going to make $90,000 extra on a property and then potentially raise the price on you even more with an escalation clause. We're going to go down the list and as properties come available, we're going to say yay or nay. This is the price. And then we're going to keep going down the list. I appreciate they did that versus trying to really screw people over like Lennar and some of these other builders. Sorry. Tim Morrison. Oh, got a little thumb right there. Sorry. Pulte. Oh, gosh. Sorry. Oh, man. Oh, sorry. Anyway, go ahead.
What? Go ahead and what?
I just go ahead. Who's next? Somebody talk. Yeah. So what are we talking about? Sorry. Thanks, Carlos, for listening to me. Somebody asked a question. They did a $5 thing earlier. Let's go back to that. If anybody wants to put money in, it's going to go towards the upgrade fee for paying for StreamYard. Appreciate that. Do mud taxes go down? Some after a community is fully built. Yes, usually like 10 years or something like that. 10, 15 years, depending on the PIDs, MUDs. Yeah.
It'll be before you move out that you're not going to see any benefit from it.
Hey, mine went down the year after we bought.
But did your appraised value go down too?
No.
So Sarah, I have a client that I just showed them property over in High Point, and I was like, look, this is a good deal. And they're like, but the property tax was so high. I'm like, yeah, but now they're down to 2.57 where they were at 2.92. So
I know that
yeah.
answer for Aaron.
Aaron, Jeremy has cedar fever. Yes, that's the answer.
No,
cedar fever.
Yeah, but yeah, you do have cedar fever.
Yeah. See, what's another one of those builders that's really making you mad? Castle Rock. Oh, sorry, that was yours.
That was mine.
Yeah, that's your
That was
hate.
mine.
I do like. So of the build, I'm very pleased with what they're doing. Highland Homes is absolutely 100% my favorite builder. So, and I don't get paid by Highland Homes. I wish I did, but I only get paid when we close a property with them. But great property or great builder. Anyway, go ahead. Is Pulte a good builder? They are. I just had a client close with them. They are moving to bids though, and I'm not a fan of bids. 150,000 over. So my clients that just closed under 500 are now.
Nope.
Yeah, we lost Sarah somehow. She'll come back. But my clients that just closed, she probably had a power outage. My clients that just closed under 500, same property just went for $100,000 more out in Calaterra on bid with Pulte. Crazy. Big mama, welcome back, girl. Would love to hear what are the top things to check on for final walkthrough before closing. Ooh, that's a good one. We need the inspector back on here. Where did Andrew go? Number one, big mama, definitely get an inspection done. They'll give you a time frame that you can have an inspection done. Definitely get an inspection done. Sup, Rob? You're definitely going to want to when you go through your final walks, you're definitely going to want to tag everything in blue tag and make sure that they've, done all the cosmetic things. Your inspector is going to hopefully make sure that all the mechanicals are in place. With a lot of these builders, they will give you an opportunity post-close to have things fixed. Be very careful with that and just make sure that you have good communication, and they're going to do that because Lennar is notorious for saying, yes, we'll do that. And I have a Lennar home now. It was Village Builders, but they sold out to whatever Lennar. And the year checkup thing that they're supposed to come do, never did. Never. Said screw you. So, yeah. So there you go. Ken the Wilco CAD, really thank you for the $5. Really appraise your property at a higher value than the original valuation letter if you protest. I've seen it happen. Sarah, you know the answer to this.
I mean, I actually didn't protest last year because nothing changed with my value. So
pretty much
I didn't
Austin, yeah.
experience this.
Well, that's because of the whole breach of trust, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you definitely need to be careful when you protest. And like you were saying earlier, Jeremy, how are you going to rationalize that this year with where the values have been going? Like what comps are you going to use? They could definitely go higher.
Yeah.
Yep. What am I drinking tonight? Arizona State water. It's straight water. Yeah.
It's translucent.
And then no Buffalo Trace. Sorry. Somebody actually, I called somebody yesterday that came through my website, and they're like, how come you don't drink Buffalo Trace on the channel anymore? I'm like, funny.
Ooh, I like the question.
What's up?
Which one?
I'm going to, is
This
it
one?
we?
Thank you. Really appreciate you guys and all your time. Thanks, Big Mama.
That too, but above it.
Yeah. Red Bull and vodka. That one?
I said above it.
Oh, sorry. Northline versus Velocity. What's the next domain? Good one.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ian. I know you want to answer that.
I think North is better. No. I think they're both incredible, and there are more than just those two, but they are both incredible. And you just have to think about what your travel patterns are going to be, and what most people's travel patterns are going to be. He said snore. Maybe it's a snore.
No, snore to the bourbon thing.
Oh yeah, well, that too. So for those that don't know, Northline is one of those those live work play things in Leander area, and it's the same thing with Velocity, and Velocity is over by it's south. So you just have to decide if you're going to spend more time north or south. I love that. What was that? What was that noise?
I was just giving Master Jedi some love. Hi, Master Jedi. There you go. All right. Continue. I apologize.
Hugh. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just think that's it. I think Northline, there are more of those types of projects going north than there are going south, but that's today. I think as they're building the connection from San Antonio, San Marcos to Austin, they're going to start. I mean, we need the space. We need to start filling the space as soon as there's lumber and all these materials, like Kevin said, gets back to a sense of normalcy. And if the mayors allow the cities to grow, they're going to start building along there, and you're going to have the same type of thing. But right now, you have more of these projects that are planned for up north of the river.
Let's see.
Sarah lost the internet connection, guys. She just texted me.
I know I did earlier. I'm back.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Giddens, love Giddens.
That already.
So the answer to this question is yes, they can use recent sales comps. Recent sales comps up until January 1st or December 31st of the year before. So they can't use sales comps from this year, but they can use stuff that closed up in November. So prices are up 25% pretty much across the board in December. And then they're up 30%, right, Kevin? After that.
Depends on the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 30%.
What's your thoughts on Parton Ranch?
My thoughts on Parton Ranch?
Yep.
I mean, a medium on it. Honestly, I liked Parton Ranch as the idea earlier on, but I'm not sure that I love it based on the price that you're gonna have to pay now. And you know this, you felt the same way.
Based on the prices you're currently paying, yes, it's getting out of control, and the property tax rate's 2.9. I like the community. I like the idea of it. I'm a little confused of why they don't start building the community center, because I've had clients there now for a year and a half, I think, that they still haven't built the community center. So that's like, what's up? But it's a great location.
And great schools. And they're about to have a brand new elementary school over there, Cypress Springs. It's about to open in the fall. So they'll get all the brand new fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be awesome.
Kevin, why don't you explain what a lot premium is?
A lot premium is basically the price you're going to have to pay on better lots in the subdivision. But the thing is, like, lot premiums, almost every subdivision right now has a lot premium on literally every lot. So it's just the amount of premium you pay for like a bigger lot or a corner lot, or whether it backs to a green belt. So some of those you might be paying a much bigger price for.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago, where the lot premiums were like $2,000, $4,000.
Or like 120.
And then hold on, the decisions were like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Should I do it? Is it worth it?
Right.
Well, yeah, my lot premium here was like $22,000, and I'm like, oh, having a heart attack back then. But now, geez,
I can't tell me. I sat down with a couple different builders when I was thinking about buying a place the last like 3 years ago or so, and like if they even mentioned the word like lot premium, I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
I know.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Not gonna get me.
So you can find me another lot, because I wasn't sure at that time. Like, if you were looking in the subdivision, if you're convinced that paying the lot premium would be a 1-to-1 value add, right?
Yeah.
Like right now, would you care if you were in the subdivision? Would you care if you paid $100,000 more for the house?
What was that, Kevin?
I don't know. I'm losing it. Like if you had to pay $100,000 premium right now, do you think that you could get that $100,000 back in terms of the sales price later on?
Well, define later on.
Like if if there were two 4,000 square foot homes in your favorite subdivision 2 years from now, and one of those homes they had to pay $100,000 lot premium on, do you think that the one with the lot premium would get $100,000 more in the future on that same sales price?
Ooh, that's a good question. Is it a triple the size yard on a corner lot?
But does that matter anymore? That's my question: does it matter anymore? Because is the consumer now when you have the choice between a corner lot or not corner lot, I think it's one conversation, right?
Right. But if you sell it later, so if you sell it in 5 years, the market might be where people are choosing again.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. Today we can't even imagine that, but in 5 years that might be the case.
I would also bring up the fact, because they do also charge lot premiums on detached condos, but you don't actually own that specific land. I mean, it's, percentage of ownership. So I think it'd be interesting to talk about what resale value you would see as it differs between detached condos and a single family home. Because a lot of people don't know the difference. Well, how do y'all feel about, do you think that single family home, you're going to see a greater increase, like with what Kevin said, in getting that money back more quickly than in a detached condo, or you run a bigger risk of not maybe getting that complete value back with a detached condo versus a single family home? Or does that matter?
There's so many variables in there. Oftentimes detached condos, they might have a higher HOA, no sidewalks, right? That's going to be a thing half the time. Garages are going to be a consideration. They're just, there are a lot of the taxes are often going to be different because it's going to be a community just for the detached condos. So all those variables.
I just think we should stop thinking like the builders are actually concerned about what the consumers want. Like all the builders are thinking was like, how can we make a little bit more money off this process?
Not a little bit. Like Jeremy said, they're trying to make as much money. They're a business. They're trying to make as much money as they can right now because the future is uncertain. And right now they can't necessarily keep up with the demand and they don't know what those prices are going to do.
Well, that's the thing though. In the future, are they going to actually bring down prices or are they just going to start going off volume? So think about that. So the prices get to a certain point, right? Where, whatever they're going to, depending on what they're doing, bids or they're doing, off lists and saying this is the set price, but they're trying to make that extra money now. And so what do you think is going to happen in the future when prices go down? Right now, they're holding inventory as low as possible and releasing 1 or 2 homes, 3 homes, where 6 months, 8 months ago, they were doing 9, 10, well, probably further back than that, 9, 10, 11 homes. Do you think, what are they going to do? They're going to keep prices the same and just blow out the number they sell and keep those prices relatively same?
Well, actually, that's why I saw one of the reports. That's why I don't believe any of this media stuff. Is one of the reports I saw today said that housing data was slipping for the last month because the metric that they use is how many homes are being released, right, or built. Yep. But what they don't say is like, well, they're purposely not releasing that. It's not like that. It's not like the economy is forcing their hand on that. Well, it is just in the opposite direction, right? They're just controlling the inventory so they can artificially keep prices inflated.
Yeah.
Almost everybody's figuring this out right now. Yeah. Do you don't think Nike can make more reserved versions of shoes? No, they keep the reserves they keep the supply of very constrained items artificially low, so it keeps the prices high. It keeps demand high all the time. These guys are smarter. Like, you don't think that they figured out marketing now? They figured it out, guys. They know consumer behavior better than anyone.
They just use the Krispy Kreme model. Does everybody remember that?
What's that?
Krispy Kreme used to be incredible. They had their own stores and they were all over the place. You're like, ooh, Krispy Kreme. And then they went into like Walmart and some of the grocery stores, and then everybody could have it and it was no longer special.
It's still tasty though.
It's still I know, but all the stores closed down. They pretty much bankrupt themselves doing that. And it's kind of the same thing with the builders. The builders right now can control because they know that there is this huge queue of buyers. So they say, if I want to get this much for the house, all right, I'll release 3 houses. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how it works with their depreciation over time, But if they buy a lot of product, can they depreciate that? I mean, they might be able to depreciate that if they're holding on to it. And I don't know. So
I don't know. I actually don't know I don't know the ins and outs of how they manage that part of the business.
Yeah.
But
The answer to this question is exactly. So builders are hiding behind lumber shortages and inflate prices. Yes.
Of course they are.
100%.
Wouldn't you?
it's an easy thing to say because it's all over, like you said, Kevin, it's all over the media, right?
If you have something, like you got to put yourself in the eyes of a seller. If you have something that you know other people want, like, are you eager to get rid of that thing? Or are you like, I'm not sure if I even want to sell this thing right now?
Kevin, I'm gonna tell you something. Kevin sold me a graphics card for a lot of money.
Yeah.
I still haven't even put it in the computer yet, but I feel so good that I got it because I know it's worth hundreds, if not $1,000 more.
Absolutely. It's worth
I
way
will
more.
use it. I had every intent to use it, but
no, I did the same thing. In fact, I bought one previously where I paid a lot of money for it, and it's worth a lot more than what I paid for it. But then, it's like, it reminds me of that episode of The Office, which everything reminds me of an episode of The Office, where Dwight's interviewing his successors, right? And he's trying to get that one guy, Rolf, to sell. He's like, here, Rolf, sell me this piece of paper. And he's like, well, if it's so good, why would I want to sell it to you? Maybe I want to keep it for myself, right? That's the same attitude that the builders have. We're like, well, wait a second. If you guys really want these houses so much, why would I want to sell it to you right now? Like, should I be keeping these houses? Should we? And this is what they're doing. They're like, should we keep them? Sure. Let's buy them from ourselves. And then our investors can have them, right? That's what they're doing.
Yeah. So real quick, Steven, thank you so much. We appreciate that you think of our show as the what was the Medieval Knights one with the dragons and everything?
Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones. I'm glad you think of us as Game of Thrones or
season 1
Entourage.
through 7.
Yeah, or Entourage. And then would someone please spike Kevin's celery juice? Yes, it's already spiked. It's not even celery juice; it's just a bottle. But what you're saying reminds me of this video that's gone around TikTok. It's like, this is an apple. Like, I have clients right now that are like, hey, we want all of this
Can you play it?
information. You're not gonna hear the volume on it.
No.
It's unless I had downloaded it, probably would, but I don't think it'll do it on here. Well, it'll probably go off my mic. So hold on, let me try it.
Turn it up. You got to turn the volume up on the right. Yeah.
We're on sale right now, actually. Well, I'm in the market, so tell me about your apple. Why should I buy it? Nice try. Okay, people, here's how this is going to work. I have an apple here. The highest bidder's going home with this. I want all bids in the next 2 minutes, then we're closing it. Bidding starts at $5.
Feeling pretty confident there, huh? I mean, don't you think?
$10.
He said starting at 5.
15.
Is this a new apple?
Yeah, just listed. I'm pre-qualified. I'll pay cash. I got cash. 20, 30, 40. Okay, just make it 45.
Is it even worth that?
50. I don't know. Please, this is the 8th apple I've tried to buy.
Could I at least see it up close?
Nope, it's an apple. You know what it is. You either want it or you don't. I'll take it for 100.
What? I'm from California. It's the cheapest apple I've ever seen.
120.
Why did I do that? Why? I don't.
Oh man. So that's
good.
let me who's reverbing? Sarah. There you go. It's usually Sarah reverbing.
Well, you turned your volume up a lot for that, I think. So
I did. Well, I turned it up on the computer. But here's what's funny about that. Clients are like, hey, can we get the utility bills for this house today? And I'm like, yeah, I'll get it. And they're like, the seller's agent was basically his response, it's an apple. You can see it. You know what it is. And I feel like it's terrible that we're in the position where it's like, even just to ask a basic question about a property, whether it's a builder, whether it's, somebody buying a home, their first home on resale, it's like, yep, you can't ask the questions anymore, right? Can I, you get the seller's disclosure maybe, but I mean, does it have a survey? No. Do you want to see the utilities first? That doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to get them. Like, I feel like that's where we're at, and that's where the builders are at too, right? It's an apple. You see it. Bid as much as you want.
Not just the builders, but the sellers, right?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
I love that. My favorite question after we're under contract during the option period. Do you think they can give me utility bills? Yeah, I'm sure I can. Is that going to make the difference between you buying this house or not? Because this is a little late for that question.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also at the same time, it sucks that we're in that position. Like I was saying earlier, I had the client where Coventry said, hey, we might have to put in lower quality products than we initially told you because of, shortages. It's like, what do? Do you say no? Do you back out of that house? You're going to pay $150,000 more than when you went under contract 3 months ago.
It's the same conversation with like, I don't like having this conversation either is, hey, guess what? If you want to get this contract, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to waive your rights to the, the appraisal. You're going to have to cover the shortage. You're going to have to pay for the title policy. There's no negotiation in that kind of stuff anymore. And I understand this is this sucky thing to hear, but if you want this house, you either do it and you have a chance to get the house, or you don't do it because the principal and you're not going to get the house. So if this is the market you want to play in, you have to do these things.
Yep. Somebody asked if we lost the stream. I don't think we did.
No, it's live.
Yeah, the viewer count dropped off pretty precipitously though. So, Sarah, any closing statements or I muted you. You're muted. Any closing statements or arguments?
If you want to buy. Now, don't wait. Besides that, I think we covered a lot of really good stuff tonight. So if you have questions, reach out to us.
Oh man, the stream keeps dropping. That's a bummer.
That is a bummer.
It's on my channel.
Dang.
I don't know why it's not on yours right now.
Yeah. What about you, Ian? Last words of advice? And
I would say that as you hear this sentiment echoed a lot, there is no real reason to wait unless you can't afford it, because it's not going to be more affordable in the future.
All right, Ian. Sorry, Kevin.
I would say, based on kind of everything, like, be careful of the information that you're taking to heart on how you make your lifelong decisions. So this is a decision you're only going to make a handful of times in your life. You're not wrong if you buy now, and you're not wrong if you don't buy now. You're not wrong if you sell now. You're not wrong if you don't sell now. Like, nobody's going to judge you. The difference might be a slight financial difference in your long-term life choices, but that's pretty much it. So, I mean, do we take this seriously? Yes, we do. But this is not life or death, right? These are financial decisions that might make a little bit of an impact, maybe even a big impact, but not hopefully not life ruining decisions. So please remember that.
Awesome. Well, it looks like we keep getting cut out. It probably was right after I put up that TikTok thing. TikTok probably cut us out on the YouTube. So they're monitoring us now. The overlords.
Actually, YouTube cuts you out because they're trying to get their shorts platform moving.
Yeah, they are. I've been on there. It's not good.
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome. All right. Thank you all. We appreciate you. We'll catch you on the next one.